Welcome to this edition on the Legal Briefs Network, broadcasting today right from the beautiful Chorus Entertainment Studios in downtown Toronto. I'm Lauren Honickman, Joe Newberger. Hi, Joe.
Hey, Lauren.
All right, we've been talking about the fallout from the Jean Ghomeshi trial that took place here in Toronto back in March, sexual assault trial. And you and I have been going over so many things that have been happening since that trial.
Yeah, it's amazing the fallout that's happened from that trial. The changes that's happened with the Crown's office, the free legal advice, and now we can see the infection that it's had in many cases that are playing out in Toronto.
I love you use the word infection.
I consider it to be an
Yeah,
infection.
yeah.
And, you know, this case that I think you and I have spoken about, which was a decision in the Ontario Court of Justice recently where there was an appeal for bail.
Right.
A decision by Justice Zucker on a sexual assault case, I think is a very good example of how there's a shift to the other side, which is an unhealthy shift for fairness.
But have you really seen the shift? Because this is the important thing as part of the dialogue. I mean, this is one case. It appears that this one judge in one case went out of his way to try and swing the pendulum, if you will, the opposite direction,
Yeah,
right?
okay, so let's break this down for a second. We're looking at one case which got good publicity. There's many cases that may go on where judges are now feeling the pressure to really analyze evidence in a certain way that's been in key with the outcry that's come from certain groups, and we need to be careful about that. What's stunning about this decision is the judge took into consideration academic paperwork, academic studies,
Right.
based on
Social science, yeah.
well, they're still academic, but to the extent of how much weight you can put onto it, who knows? But he took social studies and actually relied on them to dispel a number of the arguments of the defense to try and address the myths that he said existed in sexual assault cases, and found the individual guilty, utilizing that as a way to dismiss
Right.
some of the concerns in the evidence. And what was really quite stunning is that this judge, who is a senior judge, has sat in the family court system at 47 Shepherd for years, and then came over to the criminal system recently, actually felt that this was okay, and he didn't have to address it at all with the counsel. That's what was stunning and led to the appeal of the bail issue,
Right.
where the Superior Court let him out on bail. But even the judge on the appeal was stunned that these papers was used by the judge in crafting his decision without even addressing it with counsel. And I think that's just one really important example.
Well, to me, what the fallout from the Ghomeshi case that really has given me a lot of reason to sit back and think has been the fact that in so many discussions now since that particular trial, people have been trying to come up with ideas like, how can we make it better or easier for alleged victims of sexual assault? I even was on a panel where a very experienced counsel came up with a suggestion that maybe there should be a civil trial type of burden of proof on a balance of probabilities and not beyond a reasonable doubt. And
Is he still practicing law?
Yeah, but
Yeah, okay, because that's stunning as well.
yeah, but it just goes to show you, Joe, that that case almost single-handedly started getting everybody to start thinking, if you will, are we doing this right, and should anything change from here on in?
Nothing should change. Our system has been working just fine for thousands of years. We've done a very good job in Ontario and across Canada dealing with the vast variety of cases. Sexual assault cases are very serious, and there's particular sensitivities that need to be addressed with any complainant that comes forward, male or female.
Right.
But it's not much different than if you're dealing with an assault case or somebody who's a victim of a robbery or some other crime, a fraud crime. The understanding is that people who come forward with complaints will tell their story to investigators. They will go through the evidence, and then telling the truth in court isn't that difficult of a process. Yeah. And people are climbing all over themselves to try and address what appears on the surface to some people that this was an injustice to Mr. Ghomeshi, and it wasn't. He was acquitted appropriately because the evidence didn't even come close to the threshold of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. And we don't put people in jail on anything less.
Yeah, it's just
terrifying.
It's been incredible, and even today at this time we're getting a lot of times we're hearing about other cases and when do you use video, and I think it's good to keep the discussion going. I think for me, I like to cut right to the chase. I think Ghomeshi, all the trials, if they're worried about an alleged sexual assault victim getting on the stand and not being ready for a cross-examination, well, the Crown should get her ready.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. And and that's what it should be. The police should ensure that they do their job, and the Crown should do his or her job.
And the majority of time they do. And I think this goes back to some sort of unrealistic criticism that sometimes Forgetting about Ghomeshi, sometimes there are certain witnesses, certain complainants that no matter how you try and prep them, how you try and work with them, they're not going to come through with certain evidence. They're not going to talk about that. And it is not up to somebody to help manufacture or help polish it or tuck in the shirt and make it look good. That's not the job. The job is to prepare them, and if the witness is coming forward with the evidence and to speak about it, sure, you're going to have to know how to deal with cross-examination. But we don't go to great lengths to try and help them craft all their evidence in a prosecution.
It's just unbelievable. Since March, so now it's about 5-6 months, the discussions that have taken place since that Ghomeshi verdict, and that's why we're talking about it here.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks. We'll have lots more on the next edition on the Legal Briefs Network. Thanks for joining us.